Next up is Cadet Brandon Altman, an E-Battery Senior, speaking about the military.
An agent of change in a new world. Many will no doubt say that the most adequate representation of the previous would be the new president, Barack Hussein Obama, and his campaign rhetoric of change. While this may be a satisfactory answer, there's one body of the finest men and women in the world whose propensity for change has largely gone unnoticed and unappreciated for the last 233 years. That group, or organization, if you will, is the United States Armed Forces. The combined efforts of the men and women of the U.S. Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard have left their mark on the civilized world and continue to do so today. On January 31st, 2009, the people of Iraq lined up at the polling booths to vote for their favored candidates in provincial elections. This may seem commonplace from our point of view. It may even seem unimportant and rudimentary. However, to the Iraqi people, this marked a first in their long history. The first time that the Iraqi people were able to publicly express their opinions. The first time where they were able to affect how their country would be run without the fear of persecution, without the fear of torture, and without the fear of execution, without any real legal grounds. Whom is to thank for this expression of intellectual freedom and democracy? Is it the past president, George W. Bush? Is it the incumbent, Barack Obama? While the commander-in-chief receives the vast amount of attention and credit, it is in fact the American soldiers in Iraq and all around the world to whom the gratitude is owed. Through the actions of those brave and courageous few, an entire nation was afforded the same privileges that we take for granted every single day. Can we not classify this transformation of an impoverished and oppressed people as a change, and at that, a change for the better? Some may say that the spreading of democracy by our military is the new modern form of imperialism. Imperialism, for those that may not know, is the forceful takeover of a weaker nation in order to harvest their resources and/or territory. How liberation can be so wrongly classified is something that I, along with many other people, will never understand. The spreading of democracy and freedom to people around the world who live in tyranny is a massive shift of beliefs and values that depend on the people for it to work, not the whims of whomever has the most guns and missiles at the time. Many remark that we should acknowledge and recognize the deeds of the U.S. Armed Forces due to their contributions to keeping our soil safe and our people free. I say nay. We have much, much more to be proud of. Our blessings should go out to those individuals who not only fight for our rights, but the rights of oppressed people around the globe. My friends, look to the United Nations mission in Bosnia and Herzegovina as a prime example of the toils that our servicemen undertake to ensure peace and safety for the masses. Bosnian citizens were being rounded up, captured, beaten, and murdered by the military organization controlling the country. Women were held in detainment centers where Serbian soldiers and policemen would take them out and rape them mercilessly. Men were forced to endure heavy labor to the point of severe physical exhaustion. Ethnic cleansing was rampant, with citizens being tortured and slaughtered merely because of what race they were born. Americans think of these as isolated occurrences, happening only among the circles of the barbaric and uncivilized. This, however, is just another aspect of the new world we live in and what can transpire when madmen are in power. In August 1995, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, headed by the United States of America, began a military campaign. In 10 short months, a peace treaty was signed that instated a new, democratically inclined government. That government, by the way, is currently being reviewed for membership status in the European Union, an organization with strong ties to the United States. That, ladies and gentlemen, is one huge step forward for a country engulfed in racial genocide not 10 years ago. None of it would have been possible without American servicemen risking their lives for the safety of others. The multinational citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina no longer need to live in fear of ethnic cleansing. They no longer have to live in fear of being tortured and their lands forcibly taken from them. These vast changes arose from the blood and the sweat of our men and women in uniform. When soldiers are recruited into or otherwise enter the military, it is a very well understood fact that not only will they be fighting for their own families, their own friends, their own cities, and their own country, but for those of other people in need all around the world. I ask you now, in a world with so many perils and injustices, are you not thankful for the organization that fights so steadfastly for your rights? Not only your rights, but the rights of people all over the world. Who or what has had a greater impact in shaping our everyday lives and the everyday lives of so many others? Is this agent of change not one that we should be proud of daily? With that, I shall close with a Russian proverb that exemplifies the traits of the American military. The hammer shatters glass, but forges steel. God bless.